obviously means a lot to me. I played here, played in college ball, and it's, to me, personally, I'm biased, obviously, but it's the epitome of all athletics, right? It's the epitome, it's the best position in the world, in my opinion. And I've always been fortunate enough in my years that I've coached, at Troy and other places, is that I've always had good kids to coach. And this group was no different. Right? There's great young men. We put a lot on their plate. We asked a lot of them. And the number one quality, we always talk about the quarterback position, and it's not how far they can throw the ball, it's not how are they leaders. If they're not a leader, they're not playing the position. They have to be a leader of their peers, they have to be a leader of men. And in this group, we have great kids, like Coach said, and these three are no different from the great leaders. So I'm going to start with Mr. Carter here. So Jackson, right? Jackson, I'll say some good things and I'll say some fun things. Okay? Right? Jackson, one thing I love about Jackson is when he went out and he played scout. Right? We've never played scout team here or any sport. It's a non-rewarding job. Okay? And Jackson with a different playbook every single week as a scout team quarterback, right? Along having to know our playbook when he goes to play quarterback, right? On the JV level, same area. Okay? And we sit back and we watch scout team and you just see the toughness and relentlessness that Jackson has. Right? He'd run an option and all of a sudden he'd pitch it, or he'd take a pitch and you go, where'd that come from, Jackson? Right? And he was always bouncing back up in the next play. He took a shot along the sideline of the JV game, thinking he didn't have to run out of bounds. Oh, how wrong he was. He needed to run out of bounds. Took a shot. But then, at halftime, he'd come up to me and say, hey, Coach, they gave me a 3 technique and a 2 technique. My coach called Bravo, right? But they also had a 6. Should I check traps? Should I check ratchets? What should I check for? Always wanting to learn and evaluate the game. Now, the funny thing about Jackson is, if AK wore a wristband, oh, here comes Jackson. Jackson has a wristband. Well, if AK had a shoulder injury, my shoulder's a little sore, Coach. And Jackson, apparently, there's some underground casino going on here at your high school, and Jackson would say, "Hey, Coach, I was playing poker the other night with Kirkpatrick." I said, "You know to just bring you along and steal your money." And he's like, "No," and then actually go, "Yeah, he lost $200." Holy smokes! So I don't know what payroll you parents are giving your kid, but God dang. But that's Jackson. Jackson, he's a scholar athlete, 3.5 GPA or higher. So looking forward to his off season and play baseball, right? Okay, watch play baseball and see where off season takes him. So that's Jackson's coach. Eric Holmes. So I had the pleasure of coaching Eric last year in basketball. Eric came to us from Wayne, actually, and when Eric and I talked in the off season, like from basketball going into football, and in the off season, I said, what do you want to do? And he said, what position do you want to play? He said, I want to play quarterback. I said, well, number one quality is that you have to move. Life numbers has to change. Right? You've got to get more really tough. You can't wear your emotions so much on your sleeve. He said, I got it, Coach. So going into the off season were the things we talked about constantly between Eric and I. And during the season, he was always asking, Coach, what do I got to do for my football? Right? What do I have to do when this guy does this? Coach, okay, if I'm not playing quarterback, if Jackson's in that quarterback, can I go play DB? Can I play wide receiver? How can I just get on the field? Right? And Eric, speaking from a basketball perspective, was always willing to hold his fellow teammates accountable. You're not doing your job. And that takes a lot. It takes a lot from a young man to do that. And even during the Wayne week, he said, hey, Coach, he goes, I got some of my old playbook stuff from Wayne. Is there anything I can do to help you guys offensively try to succeed and win this game? And that means a lot. Okay? It means a lot to me. It means a lot to our program. So very cool. All right. And last but not least, Aiden Kirkpatrick. So just going to read off a couple of things about AK, and then just stat-wise first, and then I'll talk about it as a portion. So AK was a 3-year starter for us. No other quarterback has started, I believe, Paul can check me, as many games as him in Troy High School history. Is at 36. He's third all-time in passing in school history. We are a sneaky passing team. So despite what people think,
TJ.
throw the ball here, TJ Murray. He's thrown for a career. He's third in career pass yards behind Tommy Myers and Kaplica with 3,140 yards. He's a two-time 1,000-yard passer. He's one of 9 quarterbacks in Troy history to throw for 1,000. He's one of 5 to do it twice. He accounted for 379 points in his career. That's kicking PATs, kicking field goals, throwing touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, and he's 4th all time if you count all that. He's first team all NBL. He's a scholar athlete in both the Troy High School and NBL, so that means he's got 3.5 GPA or higher. Now, as a person, I've been fortunate enough that when I've coached quarterbacks here, that I've been able to coach quarterbacks, except for one, more than 1 year. So I remember as a sophomore, Aiden was in the gym, and Coach Everhart came up to me, and it was the first year back, and he said, okay, there's 2 guys in there, who you start? They're starting tomorrow, they're playing tomorrow, who are you starting? And I said, that kid, the sophomore. Didn't really know his name, I just said, that kid. And he said, really? He's a sophomore. I said, I don't care. I can tell there's something about him. There's something about his personality, I can just tell how he carries himself, and I don't know which coach uses the most, but it's the word moxie. Just got moxie to it. And it's just, it was great to see him grow as a player. I know I was freshman to his sophomore year. I know he took all around for his freshman year, but I know he had an end of the year rough year with Coach Everhart, right? Fumbled the snap, and Coach Everhart was like, Coach, I'll help you handle it. I said, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But when you have a coach on the field, right, that's what he was, it matters. It matters. And I'll get more of that in a little bit when I talk about other little things that we're seeing. But what really him and I used to get in arguments, almost kind of like he was my nephew. I still don't understand his nacho preference. I don't get it. I don't understand his movie preference. I don't get it. But one of the things that Coach would drive me and Coach nuts is nothing would rattle his cage. What I meant by that, Coach Everhart is the king of one-liners, dropping lines and walking out. He'd be sitting in my room, and as a junior, he'd walk in, he goes, hey, what are you going to do when the sophomore starts with you next year? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then Coach Everhart turns around and walk out. And then later, Coach and I would talk to me. Is he walking in and getting out? I don't know. Not risking it all. But that's just the type of kid that he was. It is the young man that he is. And I'll talk more about him in a little bit in terms of his history. This is our 2025 quarterback class, so please give them a round of applause. All right, so 2 birds in 1 stone. So, the awards that are voted on by the players, I think you know why. Was voted by your team. So AK was voted offensive MVP. And when I read off the term like most valuable player, what a lot of adults look at is stats, and that's why I read the stats first. Because I don't think that's part of the value, but that's not the entire value. And a coach that used to coach with us used to say, don't put all your value and all your worth into what grown men in a conference who are biased voting. Okay? And I firmly believe that. When you talk about the value that he brings, other than the touchdowns and the stats and all that stuff, right? It's just being an overall leader. Right? And my father used to say, like, working at Goodrich, he'd say, as a leader, you got to be the hub of the wheel. Okay, you have to be the hub of the wheel. The hub of the wheel controls everything. Right? And this young man was our offense for better than 3 years was the hub of our wheel. Right? He held himself to a high standard, and his teammates to a high standard. And it's not easy in this day and age to hold your fellow peers to a high standard. And he would kick kids out of, hey, nope, not good enough, get out. And then if he didn't do a good enough job, he'd kick himself out. And when he made a mistake, he would do, you guys know, barrel rolls, log rolls. You don't know what a log roll is, and lay horizontally and roll on the ground across the field and all the way back. And It's miserable to watch him do it, but he would do it. No, I made a mistake. I put the ball on the ground. I'm going to hold myself to a high standard. And that just speaks the character of this young man. He was a coach on the field. He made checks. He got us in the right play. He got guys where they're supposed to be. Right? This will drive Coach Everhart nuts, but I'm going to read off the play. Hey, Chevy, Liz, Domingo, true plus fly, ace fly, quarterback turbo, AK, they got a 6 or a 9. Right, let's go, boom, let's check Bravo. Go ahead and motion the wing over, we'll leave the A over there on the spot. He's like, got it. And now we're all within, a 40-second play clock. And it's not as simple as just showing up and doing it. He would script the plays, he would meet with teammates, and the teammates would meet with him. If I made a mistake, he'd call me out on it and say, hey, coach, this isn't right. And that's what it takes as a leader. That's the value that he brought to our program and to our team. Okay, and there's a bunch, I could speak about several men that did this, okay, but that's the value that he brought. A couple other things. He probably played, Coach and I have talked about this. When you talk about the epitome of toughness, and Coach Everhart said this, he said for the rest of his time, he's going to be the gold standard of epitome of toughness. If you did not know this, we didn't know this, so he came in my room and he said, Coach, I went to the doctor and got my full body scan. Right? He got checked out for blue. And every week I said, you okay? You okay? Yeah, Coach, I'm fine. Adrenaline, I see some adrenaline, I'll be all right. Like, okay. He probably played the whole season, I think, right? With this shoulder, with a torn labrum in his left shoulder. He played half the season, unbeknownst to us, with a torn labrum in his right shoulder, a broken collarbone, and a torn MCL. So, that is, when you talk about being tough, and Coach talks Troy tough, that's tough as hell. Right? Because then that doesn't show up on a stat book. It doesn't show up on a stat book when people vote and say, oh, this guy threw a bunch of yards. Yeah, but he do with 2 torn labrums and a torn MCL and a broken collarbone. Did he do that? Right? And so that's toughness, and I told him, you have every right for the rest of your life to sit around and brag about that. And I said, you have every right to sit on a bar stool and say, hey, I did this, and I'll back you up. You call me and put me on speaker. I got your back. Okay? And I'll tell like it is. And last but not least, he's a great young man. To Mr. and Mrs. Kirkpatrick, you have raised a phenomenal young man. But I hope that he heals up. I hope that, I don't know if he'll keep playing, but I know he's used to pain. He's been a Cowboys fan for a long time. And they've been in pain since the 90s. So he's used to pain. He's used to it. So I had to throw that in there. And last but not least, I think in 4 years I've told him, and coaches told him, and there's a spot on him for our coaching staff. His ego will fill the room with the rest of us, okay, very well. And but it's there, and I told him come back, take my job, so my wife can actually see me for once. Okay, so I appreciate him. Mr. and Mrs. Kirkpatrick did a phenomenal job. But nice to say that the toughest Kirkpatrick is still yet to come. I've seen your sister play volleyball. Gosh, she's an animal. Okay? So, phenomenal job. Aiden Kirkpatrick, everybody. Aiden Kirkpatrick.